Hello, folks. A couple of days ago, a friend of mine posted this problem on a WhatsApp page, so I shared it with a couple of my friends to try out, and well, there were interesting results. I thought I would just take us through what the answer is most likely to be. Okay, all right. So here's the problem. You have a log which needs a sequence of three numbers, of course, in the right order to be able to unlock. Now here's the thing, there are hints given here, and these are supposed to be clues which would lead you to finding what the right numbers would be from these set of variables. Now, of course, we quickly went through it. The very first one says that one number is correct and well placed, looking at this sequence. The second one number is correct but it is wrongly placed. Third one, two numbers are correct but they are wrongly placed. The fourth is nothing is correct. And the fifth is one number is correct but it is wrongly placed. Now, of course, immediately from here we know that if nothing is correct, then 7, 3, and 8 couldn't be part of the correct sequence of numbers. I hope that's clear. And so we couldn't have 7, 3, or 8 because nothing here is correct. So if you had a red pen, you could simply cross out 7, 3, and 8. Okay, so let's continue. From the last hint that is given, we would know that, of course, we know from the last hint that is given that it couldn't have been 7, 3, or 8. And so 7 and 8 are definitely out. And so the one number that is correct and unfortunately wrongly placed will be 0 because the 7 and 8 are wrong anyway. And so 0 is the right number, but unfortunately it is wrongly placed. And so let's take 0 up and then examine this hint. This hint says that two numbers are correct, but they are wrongly placed. Now look at the numbers carefully. We have 0, we have 2, and we have 6. But from here we know that definitely one of those numbers is a 0. And so 0 is one of those numbers. But what we do not know is whether the other number is 6 or 2. Now let's look at the placement. It says two numbers are correct, but they are wrongly placed. Now, of course, we know that 0 is one of those numbers, but 0 unfortunately is wrongly placed here. Now, when 0 was occupying the third position, it was wrongly placed. It's occupying the second position, unfortunately it is wrongly placed. And so the only available place for 0 to be rightly placed is in the first slot. I hope you get it. So let's go and put a 0 here. And we'll have to figure out what the other two will be. Okay, so we have 0 here, but unfortunately we do not know what that other or that second number is, whether it will be 2 or it will be 6. But we do know from this stage that the first slot is occupied by 0. Okay, let's move on to the very first one. It says that one number here is correct and it is well placed. Now immediately we know it cannot be 8 because 8 has been crossed out here as part of the numbers that couldn't be correct, and so 8 is out. What we are left with now is 6 and 2. It says one number is correct and it is well placed, or it is rightfully placed. Now just think about this carefully. The very first slot here has already been occupied by 0. And so it cannot be 6. Because if it were 6, then 6 would have been well placed. But because we have already deduced that the first slot is occupied by 0, it no longer can be 6. The only number that is correct and well placed as at this stage will be 2. I hope you get it. Let me repeat that again. One number is correct and it is well placed. It is correct and well placed. We've already sorted out the very first box as containing the 0. Unfortunately, the first box has already been taken and so it cannot be 6. It cannot also be 8 because 8 has been ruled out, and so the only number that is correct and well placed is 2, and so we would have to put our 2 here. Now let's go back to the problem. The only slot that is left for us now is the middle slot, and we would sort that out by looking at the second thing. Now look at this carefully, because this is the interesting part. It says that there is one number that is correct, but that number is wrongly placed. Now we have already deduced from here. This says one number is correct, and the only number we found as being correct is 6. In which case we dismiss it is 2, sorry. In which case we dismiss 8 and 6 as incorrect numbers. And so if we come here, definitely 6 is crossed out because 6 is an incorrect number. 6 is crossed out because 6 is an incorrect number. Now let's take 4. The condition says that one number is correct, but it is wrongly placed. Now if 4 was the number, and since we only have a middle slot to fill, then this would have read one number is correct and well placed or rightly placed. But since it says that one number is correct and wrongly placed, the only number that could be correct and wrongly placed is 5, because 5 is in the third slot, and the third slot is already occupied by 2, and so 5 satisfies this condition of being a correct number and wrongly placed. So we have 5 here. I hope you get it. It's a pretty simple problem, and yet it simply requires a little bit of thinking through it. Thank you very much.